I cheated on my ex-wife with my current wife. Years later, my ex married my best friend behind my back, and my current wife had a baby that isn't mine. I, 37 male, have been with my wife, 26 female, for 5 years and married 4 years. We have 3 kids from her previous relationships, 2 boys and 1 girl between the ages of 5 and 8. I really love her and her kids. Things were perfect until 3 or 4 months ago. I've had 3 big promotions in 5 years. We bought a house last year. She stays home with the kids and is trying to make a social media career happen. I have always been on the fence about having kids, but she really wanted us to have one together, so I agreed to try to have my vasectomy reversed. She is 7 months pregnant now. We were so freaking happy. My ex-wife, 38 female, divorced me in 2019 and moved about 2 hours away a few months into the Cough Cough event. Our divorce was amicable, but once it was finalized, I never heard from her again even when I would wish her well on birthdays and holidays. I even sent her a graduation gift when I heard that she finished her PhD program. Other people in our social circle, including my parents and sister-in-law, who sent her a gift received handwritten thank you cards. I didn't get so much as a text. My ex-wife is a really kind and thoughtful person, and the woman I knew would have at least sent a thank you text if her worst enemy sent her a gift. Even though we broke up, I didn't think she hated me. My best friend, 35 male, and I have been best friends since college. He's the best person I know, and at least 10 people think he's their best friend, but he said that I was his always. We kinda lost touch during the Cough Cough event. We live 2 hours apart, and he is a lawyer and teaches classes at a university, so he is really busy. I have a really busy career and a new wife and 3 kids. I didn't really realize that the texts between us were fewer, and that the last time he finally replied to me was in late 2021. He also falls off the face of the earth when he gets with a new girl, and then when things cool off, we all hear from him more. We have always been the kind of friends that could go an extended period of time without communicating, and then pick up right where we left off. I kept saying that I would eventually call him when things were less busy. My wife and I went to visit the city he and my ex-wife live in last summer for a week, and I tried calling him a couple of times to meet up, but he never answered. I was sad, but just figured he was busy with work or obsessed with a new girlfriend. I have other friends there, so I got to see them. Then I went to the city again by myself in October for a Halloween party. I figured he'd be at this party, and I was psyched that I'd get to see him then. He was there. When I went to say hi and hug him, he looked a little surprised and gave me a weak hug. I told him that I was there during the summer and that I tried calling him so we could hang out. He just said, "Yeah, I was on my honeymoon that week. Sorry, I didn't get back to you." I was really shocked to hear that he'd gotten married, and a little hurt that my best friend got married without me even knowing he had a serious girlfriend, but still happy for him. Like I said, he was a great guy and girls love him. I spit out a rush of questions like, who is she? Where is she? What's her name? What's she like? Where'd you meet her? How long have you been together? He paused for a moment and then just bluntly said, "It's ex-wife's name." My ex-wife doesn't have a unique name or anything, but it isn't the most common name either, and instantly I knew that it was her. I can't describe how it felt to hear those 2 words come out of his mouth. I felt sick to my stomach, and I immediately wanted to pass away. I have never felt like that before. I just said, "What the freak?" He told me that I didn't get to be mad because I broke her heart, and they didn't start dating until 2 years after we got divorced, and that I chose to be with some waitress anyway. I drank the rest of the weekend because it was the only way I was able to sleep. I feel betrayed by both of them. My best friend, since I was 20 years old, married my ex-wife behind my freaking back. I was married to her for 6 years and they were never even friends, and now they are in love with each other. I also found out that he talked turd about my current wife and me behind my back and never liked her. I went back home and I know that I was distant with my wife and the kids because I was just hurting so much. After a couple of weeks, we had a big fight and she called me out on being distant and accused me of cheating. I finally came clean and told her about my ex and my best friend, which she scoffed about and said she'd known about them for a long time now because of social media. I flew into a rage and we fought for hours. She betrayed me by not telling me the entire time she knew. She didn't say anything when I mentioned my best friend not returning my calls or messages. I didn't get to sleep before going to work, and after work I just stayed with my parents for a few days. When I finally went back home, we got into another fight where she accused me of still being in love with my ex and said that I wouldn't care if I wasn't. I called her stupid and said that she wouldn't understand because she doesn't have any friends. I wouldn't care if my ex-wife got married to anyone else if it wasn't my best friend. I don't see what is so hard to understand about that. We made up eventually, but I feel sick to my stomach every day and things aren't the same in our relationship. I love my wife, but I've come to realize it's not the same way I loved my ex-wife. My wife doesn't love me the same way my ex-wife did either. I have started to regret the things that led to our divorce because we were really happy until the moment she left me. I don't even have my best friend to call because he's too busy freaking my ex-wife to care about me anymore. Everything feels empty and like a lie now. A lot of friends agree that they both betrayed me, but think I need to move on. Even my dad and brother told me to get over it. My sister-in-law yelled at me, and my mom tries to comfort me, but I know she's overhearing about my problems. I have to pretend I'm okay, but I'm not. No one gives a turd about mental health when it comes to men. I brought up couples therapy to my wife, but she said that she thinks we are okay since we worked through things. Guess I have to pretend for the rest of my life now because divorce is not on the table. I need advice on what to do and how to get closure. I am thinking of driving to their city to just show up and force them to talk to me so I can move on. Is that too much to ask? How do I get my wife to see that it is hard to trust her after knowing she kept a big secret from me for a long time? TLDR. The three people I love the most outside of my blood family ripped my heart out. My wife knew about my best friend being in a relationship with my ex-wife and didn't tell me. Best friend ghosted me around the time he started dating my ex-wife. Ex-wife is still friendly with my family and mutual friends, but not me. Update. The overwhelming consensus here is that I am a piece of turd, which is true. The other consensus is that I need therapy. I asked my brother to help me, but neither of us even know where to begin to find a therapist. He said he would ask his wife to help us, and she texted me this morning and said she was only helping because of my brother. I guess that's fair. Edit. The reason for my divorce was that my ex-wife found out about me sleeping with my current wife. I broke up with my current wife for my ex-wife so we could work things out. She decided she wanted a divorce a couple of months later, even though I begged her to try with me. Out of respect, I tried to make sure the divorce was as easy as possible. I got back together with my current wife while we were separated. Update, 2 months later. This is kind of an update to my last post a few months ago, and I am also hoping for advice on how to best navigate this. I have tried a couple of times to write this update, but I get stressed trying to make it all make sense, so I will just dump it all here and hope it comes out okay. I guess I should start by saying that I had Warji have a lot more issues than my original post addressed, or than I even recognized at the time. Therapy is helping me uncover a lot of it, and it's really uncomfortable on the good days and crushing on the bad days. So many people talk about how they feel so much better after going to therapy, but I feel worse. I'm still going to go though because, for as much as it sucks, it is helping me learn better ways of dealing with things. It is also helping me explain myself to me a little better. Like I am a turdy person, but I wasn't always a bad person, and I am starting to see where it all went wrong. I feel like understanding that is the only way I can address those things and then become a better person. I did inpatient therapy then. After my release, I see a therapist in her office once a week and meet virtually once a week. I also see a psychiatrist once every 2 weeks and started on some medications. It's weird how I can kind of see them helping parts of my brain but dulling other parts and making my body not feel the best. I try to explain it to the doctor, but he just tells me it is going to take some time for them to fully work and that eventually I will get used to it. My wife had the baby, but while I was away, she told me about the possibility of the baby not being mine. I grieved that so much, but I decided it wasn't not much good in dwelling on it too much right now until we knew for sure once she is born. The results came back last week and she isn't mine. We haven't made any decisions right now about our relationship, but are living together for the sake of the kids and her recovery from having the baby. She said that if I didn't want to be with her anymore, she'd go back to her home state with her mom and stepdad. She also mentioned that she knew she wouldn't get alimony or child support because of our state, but I told her I would help her get back home and on her feet if that's what ended up happening. Since I got back home, I have stepped up more and been more active as a dad, which has been really good for me. Being a responsible and present father helps me forget about all of the other stuff in the moment. But it would be a lie for me to say that I don't worry about how much it'll hurt to lose them if we break up since they are not biologically or legally mine. I also just worry about them a lot and think they deserve to have a safe and stable, happy childhood. I'm really sad that the baby isn't mine. I wanted her to be mine more than anything in the world. But I find it really hard to be angry with my wife, for some reason. I cheated on my first wife with her, so it's kind of karma, in a way. And what could I really expect when our relationship started the way that it did? Plus, there's this other part of me that understands that she is a deeply damaged person like me. I don't really want to go into a lot of details, but we both lived through some similar turd happening to us when we were kids that bonded us. Neither of us really dealt with it, but I thought that I was okay because I grew up privileged and she didn't, so I always had more opportunities than she did. I also thought that since I didn't think about it as much, I was okay. She thought about it all the time and she wasn't okay. My ex-wife is an amazing woman, and she deserves to be happy. I sent her an email and just kind of poured my heart out about how sorry I am for hurting her. I would rip my heart out to give to her if it helped her heal from the heartbreak I caused her. I said in the email that I didn't expect a reply and that I would never attempt contact with her again after that. She got in contact with my brother a few times to check on me, and she's called me twice, and we talked for a few hours about everything. She's really happy and she's doing well. I'm proud of her, and she deserves to be happy. I am really lucky that I had the years that I had with her, but now it is time to accept how I screwed up and try my best to do better going forward. I don't think I will ever contact her again, but would be happy to hear from her if she ever reaches out again. It still hurts a little, but I understand now that that door is fully closed. The door with my friend is closed too. We haven't spoken, and we probably never will, but that's okay. I found out from other friends that he was always in love with my ex-wife, and that he was the person who convinced her to move to where they live now after our divorce. I think knowing helps because the story I created in my head was far worse. I also understand now why no one wanted to tell me. My brother and I got so close again, which his wife isn't the happiest about. I am not sure where I would be right now if it wasn't for him. We invited them over during the weekend, and at one point, she and I were in a room alone for a few minutes, and I told her that I was sorry. And she just hugged me and told me that I was stupid, but that she knows I am trying. I also have two really good friends who have been there for me through everything, even though they have been clear from the very beginning that they have not agreed with my actions. All of them are more than I deserve. My relationship with my parents isn't in the best place right now. They are both really mad at me because my brother confronted them about what I told him, related to the thing that happened when I was a kid. They feel like his is blaming them, and that they did the best they could for me. I think that they are really embarrassed too. I get it, and I don't really blame them. I don't think they knew what to do. But I am not going to apologize to them either, so until I do, they don't really want to be around me. I'm not sure that this is the update that anyone wanted to read, but it's all I've got. My life is still very much in limbo, maybe even shambles. But I am doing my best to fix it and to fix some of the hurts I have caused others. I would recommend therapy as much as everyone recommended it to me, but I would caution to add that it requires a lot of honesty to work, and that sometimes that kind of honesty reopens old wounds. But those wounds are dirty and infected, so you've got to clean them up and treat them to get better. Which is going to hurt, but I am not sure there is any other way. TLDR. My wife had someone else's baby while we were already having a lot of relationship problems. She and my stepchildren are still living with me until we make a decision about our relationship. I don't really know what to do. How do I make the best decision for the kids and for myself? Should I try to work things out with my wife, or would it be the best to make a clean break? Story 2. My boyfriend of 16 years won't commit to me even in small ways. Throwaway, because my boyfriend is a Redditor. I love my boyfriend. We've been together since high school, and when I picture my future, it always includes him. I'm not sure he feels the same way. My boyfriend Rick, name changed, and I live together. In fact, we own a home together. Even though we own a home together and have been together for 16 years, I still feel like just a roommate to him, like he can't really commit to me. Here are some things he does that kind of make me question whether he's really in this or not with me. Though we live together and own a home together, we keep our bank accounts separate. He also insists on paying the mortgage by himself, with his own account every month. I pay some utilities and buy groceries, almost as though I'm paying rent to live in his home. Rick has not allowed me to put any personal touches on our home. Though we've lived in it for a while, it looks the same as when we moved in, with the exception of the room his computer is in, which is decorated to his liking. Every time I mention something we could do, like paint, or show him something I like, he either tells me it's dumb or says he doesn't like it. I don't push him because I don't want to start an argument. Rick and I recently got engaged. Now, I know that doesn't scream commitment issues, but hear me out. A few years ago, a couple of close friends of ours got engaged. I was upset because I've had to watch all of my friends get married after being with their boyfriends for much shorter periods of time. He caught on to the bad mood I was in during their engagement and wedding, and I told him why I was upset. So a week after their wedding, he agreed to get me a ring. I went with him to buy it. I thought I was finally getting somewhere, but he told me it wasn't an engagement and that I could wear it. But he'd ask when he was ready. It's like he bought the ring to shut me up about marriage. After months of his friends cracking jokes about our non-engagement, he finally just decided one night while we were at home that it could be official. He said he had a huge plan to surprise me by proposing, but I never heard anything else about it. It wasn't my dream proposal, but it was finally happening, so I said yes. He insisted on a long engagement, at least a year, and didn't want to set a date at first. I began planning and looking at wedding stuff because I figured it would eventually happen, but he never seemed interested. It's been about 6 months and we've picked a date, with much pushing on my part, but he wants nothing to do with any wedding planning unless it's to voice his dislike of something I've done. He spends most of his days on his computer when he's not at work, and if he does happen to come out to see me, he goes right back shortly after if I so much as bring up the wedding. He has very strong opinions about what our wedding shouldn't be, but doesn't want to talk about the wedding at all to give me an idea of what he does want. Every idea I have for the wedding gets shot down. It's almost as though he's trying to stop the wedding from ever happening by making sure I can't plan it. He told my close friend's husband, their friends, that he regrets proposing because I've been going crazy about the wedding, and that he wouldn't have proposed had he known what I was going to act like. Like what? He's surprised that wedding planning takes place after you get engaged? I don't think I'm going overboard about any of it, but it's a huge deal to me. I've spent over half of my life with this man, and I've always dreamed of a huge wedding. I just don't know what to do. It's like he agrees to commit to me in certain ways, but when it comes to actually doing anything concrete, he can't do it. It's hard to talk to friends about it because the ones who do know the whole situation think he proposed just to get everyone, including me, off of his back about it. What do you guys think? TLDR. My boyfriend of 16 years has no problem agreeing to commit to me, but when it comes time to actually do it, he's flaky, reserved. I feel more like a roommate than his future wife. Update. I just wanted to thank every one of you who took the time to read my first post and for all of the support I've received since. A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, so I figured I'd post an update. I hired a lawyer and moved out one day while Rick was at work. Because my name is on the title and the mortgage, my lawyer assures me he either has to sell the house and split the profit with me or buy me out. I know he can't afford to buy me out, so I assume we'll put it up for sale. I get most of my things out of the house except for a vanity and a dresser that are too heavy for my friends and I to move. I moved out the day before Halloween. Since then, I've messaged Rick a few times to see what we're going to do about the house and to schedule a time to come pick up the rest of my furniture. He's pretty evasive about all of it, so last Thursday I showed up at the house with some friends to help me get my stuff. He's changed the locks, so I can't get in. We wait for him to get off of work and come back, and he lets me in to get my stuff. All he said before he let me in was, "You asked for this, so I don't want to hear it." I didn't know what he meant. I was absolutely not prepared to walk through that door, but when I did, it became obvious why he didn't want me to come pick up my stuff. I didn't even recognize the house that I lived in just a week prior. It was painted, there was furniture and art and things everywhere, and I could tell by looking around that Rick didn't do this by himself. There are pictures of him and some woman all over the place. They have to go back at least a year because one of them was taken on New Year's, though I couldn't tell what year. I just left. I can buy more furniture, but I couldn't spend a second more in that house. Rick texted me right after I left saying, "We're not selling, we're just going to buy you out." I was at a complete loss for words. I'm still in shock. I spent 16 years with that a-hole, and he was with someone else for who knows how long. I'm trying to get over it the best I can, but it's hard. It would be hard leaving just because we've been together so long, but to find out that your life was pretty much a lie was a hard pill to swallow. What hurts even more is that for years, I tried to decorate my house to make it a home, and he wouldn't let me. She couldn't have lived with him for more than a week, and the house already looks different. I honestly don't know how I was so blind, but I'm glad I got out when I did, even if he did waste half of my life. TLDR. I ended a 16-year relationship because my fiance is seemingly uninterested in committing to me, only to find out that he was dating someone while we were together, and they've now moved into our home together. Edit to add. A mini update. I just want to thank everyone again for all of their support. A lot of you pointed out that my name would still be on the mortgage even if I sell, so I've decided not to sign the paperwork accepting the buyout. Rick was not okay with this and has been blowing up my phone ever since he found out today, calling me a petty B word, and that I was just trying to ruin his life because he was finally happy. I know they're both pissed off because they put a lot of effort into the home in the short time since I've left, and honestly, I kind of feel better that they won't be able to enjoy it. I know it sounds terrible, but making this harder on them is making me feel better about the entire situation. For the majority of our relationship, I felt like he was always the one in control of everything. It's nice to have the final say. I know I've said a lot about how he's wasted half of my life, and I'd like to clarify that I don't think I'm too old or that it's too late for me, just that I couldn't understand why this man would string someone along for as long as he did. He's pretty much all I've known, and it took a lot for me to leave him. I feel like I've missed out on a lot of the dating experience, but I think I'll be okay. I'm just going to enjoy being alone for right now. Since I moved out, I've been staying with a friend. I signed a lease for a one-bedroom apartment today, so by this time next week I'll have my own place. I've already bought a bunch of things to decorate it with, and I didn't have to get anyone's permission to do so.